One of my most anticipated Prime weapons has to be the Daikyu Prime, and I'll just come out and say it, I want a Daikyu Prime, I need a Daikyu Prime. I've been fantasizing about a Daikyu Prime for years now, but the question is, do we actually need it? Can the regular Daikyu still perform in 2022 a single target weapon in an AoE meta? Or not? And today, my friends, together we're gonna answer that question. As always, my name is Leyzar, and I got a couple of builds lined up. Something cheap, something affordable, something that newer or more casual Tenno can get into. But fear not, we also got the endgame setup. With a Riven, Galvanized Mods, Prime Mods, we're gonna be taking it to Steel Path, put it through its paces, and see what the weapon is actually capable of. That said though, please bear in mind that my builds and guides usually take a more new player friendly tone, simply because I want anybody watching to understand how the weapon functions and how it should be built. So in case you're a vet and you already know most of this stuff, you can either skip ahead or have a bit of patience. And with that out of the way, let's jump into the Daikyu. Let's begin by checking out how the weapon handles without any mods equipped, and for that, just a couple of our regular free shots. The Daikyu is what you can call a traditional style bow in Warframe. It sports an asymmetrical design and you gotta pull the arrow all the way back. Unfortunately, there's no 3/4 shot or half shot with this one, you gotta go full charge. When you achieve full charge, you'll get a small click, listen for the click. That's the click, and you also get a small animation at the tip of the arrow, a couple of circles, letting you know that you fully charged your weapon, just in case you couldn't hear the click. Now the charge rate is terrible on this one. As you can see, it takes a while to fully charge one of these arrows, but on the plus side, they have the fastest travel speed of all arrows in the game. Take a look at that. Boom! And because of that speed, that insane travel speed, you also get almost no drop off whatsoever, so you don't really need to aim above enemies' heads, but because of the travel time that still exists, leading your targets is still kind of a thing, and you do need to go for headshots with this one. Back in the day, the Daikyu used to be known as the status bow, which worked against it, because just with status alone, you couldn't really do a whole lot. But about a year and a half ago, Digital Extremes added critical chance to the Daikyu, which propelled it to being one of the most powerful single-target bows in the game. Now that's pretty much it, the functionality. Let's have a closer look at stats to see exactly what we're dealing with. Mod capacity 60 out of 60, and if yours comes with a measly 30 out of 30, you gotta jump into actions and plug in that auto king catalyst to double your mod capacity. Is it worth it? Well, it really depends on which side of the argument you're on. Do you want a really cool single target bow? You're gonna be loving this one. If not, maybe not. Mine has 8 forma. Okay, that's a bit much forma, but I only do this so I can test multiple mod combinations, yada yada. For the build I'm recommending you, you can get away with something like 3 to 4 forma. In the weapon XL slot, you can go for something like terminal velocity, which does have an impact on the weapon, but because of the base, which is already super sky high, you see that? I don't really notice a huge difference in gameplay with this one. Again, there's no leading targets, there's no drop off anymore with something like this, so you can go terminal velocity in the XL slot if you so desire. It's not a bad idea, but if you want to save some resources, I would leave this one locked for now. In the arcane slot, this one is pretty simple. You're gonna be going with primary deadhead. If you want to go for a raw strength approach, something like corrosive and heat, go with the 90 mods. Yeah, simply get the biggest wallop worth of damage that you can and go for headshots. Go with deadhead. If not, we're gonna be going with primary merciless as per the usual if your targets are gonna be dying under the effects of procs, because what I forgot to tell you is that these projectiles, these arrows, have a guaranteed impact proc, and you know what that means. You don't? Okay, I'll tell you later if you don't. Primary dexterity if you're going to be using it in tandem with your melee. Accuracy is going to be 16.7 now. 16.7 doesn't really tell the whole story, does it? It means it's pinpoint accurate for a traditional style bow. If you go with negative accuracy effects such as heavy calibre or split flights, it kind of goes into shotgun mode, especially with split flights. I wouldn't really recommend it, especially in the case of heavy caliber. Nowadays, you got plenty of sources of flat damage in Warframe. As for split flights, this is not the mod for this weapon, not really, but more on this one just a tad later. Charge rate of 1, magazine of 1, silent, beautiful. Punch through of 3 meters by default. You know what that means? You can shoot through walls, and you need fire rate anyway, right? So go with Prime Shred, and you're going to 5.2. Shooting through walls may not be efficient, but it can be fun, so there you go. Reload of 0.6, if you don't know what this one means, it's the time it takes the Warframe to pull another arrow from the quiver. Riven this bow 4 out of 5, it's not a very popular weapon because it's not a very I don't want to say not powerful weapon, it's not a meta favored weapon per se. So Rivens are definitely worth it for the Daikyu because they are hella cheap. Now before we take a look at the damage, I want to talk about fire rate on bows and this mod right here. Where are you? Internal bleeding. Now, as I mentioned earlier, these projectiles have a guaranteed impact proc. We're going to be going with internal bleeding over hunter munitions because it is more efficient. How do you know the fire rate of a bow? Am I below 2.5? The base fire rate of all traditional style bows is set to 1.0. Okay, so off of that you can work a little bit of math and see if you're 2.5 or under. We will be in this case. When it comes to damage, critical chance 44%, critical multiplier 2.0, which is beautiful. Status chance sky high 46%. But do bear in mind that you're still firing just a couple of arrows at your target and not all that quickly. The damage is going to be as follows. We got a whole lot of impact, a whole lot of puncture, and a whole lot of slash. 700 total? If memory serves, and I hope it does, I think this is the same base damage as the Lanka, if I remember correctly. And yes, my friends, if you want to take this one Eidolon hunting, you can, and you can one-shot limbs. All you gotta do is build flat radiation, damage, multi-shot, critical chance, flat rad, and go for it. Speaking about going for it, let's have a look at a standard build, shall we? Damage acceleration, multi-shot with split chamber, critical chance and critical damage through the use of critical delay and vital sense. Now we also got vital on the weapon because we are going to be getting slash procs through the use of internal bleeding and for the weapon's innate slash value. But we also got vital acceleration on the weapon. Now this plays into what we were talking about earlier. How do I know what's my fire rate? Right now my fire rate should be about 2.4 if the math is correct. How do I calculate that, Laser? Well, it's simple. We already talked about this one, right? What is your base? Your base is 1, right? And to that base I'm gonna be adding how much? 180%, but I'm also gonna be taking away 40% from critical delay. Double, yes, because these are bows. So we're gonna add to my 1 plus 140%. And the result is 2.4. Right on the nose for the double effect of internal bleeding. Now we're going to be testing out the weapon as so, and yes, of course, terminal velocity, if you can fit it into the build. Make sure that the Warframe doesn't have anything that would skew the test results and make the weapon seem a lot more powerful than it actually is. It's easy to make a weapon look super powerful if you use Warframe buffs or Warframe synergies. Let's see what the weapon can do on its own 2 feet against Corrupted. Ah, damn it, I went to 165. Corrupted Heavy Goons, level 120. We're gonna go straight for headshots, and I'm also gonna be using the innate punch route the weapon has. Take a look. One shots made easy, no problem whatsoever. All you gotta get is a little bit of slash. Believe it or not, you don't even need the vital proc. All you gotta get is slash. This is how hard this weapon hits. Look at that, 43,000. And keep in mind, this is an introductory level build. There's nothing expensive on this one, and you're getting your one shots without any problem whatsoever. By the way, the orange slash, beautiful, because you are getting to 102% critical chance thanks to critical delay. Look at that. 48,000, no problem whatsoever. I love it, man. Honestly, when it comes to single target damage, this is one beautiful weapon that you gotta at least try if you like the whole gameplay experience of the standard bow. But let's assume you're not a beginner, right? You got all the mods, you got all the resources, you would make something like so. Galvanized Chamber instead of the normal version, and of course Galvanized Aptitude instead of the flat damage serration. Yes, it does work just fine. We also got a Riven on this one. It's got multi-shot, toxin, and puncture, and minus zoom as well. It's not an ideal Riven, but puncture still deals extra damage to heavily armored targets, and there's a whole lot of puncture on the weapon. You can roll better. Get an unrolled Daikyu Riven, head on over to Kuva, because they are awfully cheap right now. And Primary Merciless in the Arcane slot. You also have the option of slotting in a... You can go for a... I don't want to. Nah. Go like this. It's fine. Level 120 Corrupted Heavy Goons, so you can see the difference. Now, being a galvanized setup, you will have to get 1-2 kills in order for the build to be in full swing. But even without any stack, it's still one shots without any problem whatsoever. But 40,000 bleed now. Wait, that's not enough. Let's go higher. 89,000. Dead on impact, didn't even see the proc. Dead on impact, didn't even see the proc. Stop it. Okay, come on. I can't show you high proc. Stupid weapon. I can't show you high procs if they don't stay alive long enough for it to proc. Basically, that was just the impact damage alone killing the target. So what we can do is bump up the level to 165. Not that it's gonna be making a whole lot of difference because of the way armor scaling works, but there you go. 112,000 slash. What about that one? That didn't even see the proc there. It basically almost died on the initial impact. This is the power of a galvanized setup on the Daikyu. It's absolutely bloody insane. Wow, beautiful. Now I know what you're gonna be saying, dude, this is just a simulacrum, then standing still you're getting easy headshots on him. What about actual gameplay? I'm glad you asked. Now here's what I could do, show you a brief montage of me owning enemies and saying, hey, look how powerful this weapon is and how awesome my build is and all whatnot, but in the case of a Daikyu and in general of single target weapons, that's not really all that fair. So instead we're gonna see the mission from the start just so you can see exactly how hard or how easy it is to play with a single target weapon, Steel Path mode. We're gonna go for straight headshots. I'm using Revenant, which will help me because of the damage mitigation, as well as the crowd control and the Panzerwolperpfeiler, which will help me and does help me a lot when it comes to vital procs and all whatnot. She's not super reliable, but she does help, so do bear that one in mind. Now when it comes to headshots, my friends, no problem whatsoever. My single target damage is through the roof. I love it, but you see my problem. My problem doesn't really lie in the damage that I deal. My problem lies elsewhere. This being a single target weapon, my problem lies in clear time. I'm limited not by the weapon's charge rate, but by my own player skill. I'm limited by how fast I can go for those headshots. How fast can I kill my targets will depend on how quick I am at aiming. And if I was using a controller, just forget about it. I couldn't aim for shite. Now, this is fantastic, yes, when it comes to the actual damage, but the clear time is not great, so that begs the question, can you make a single target weapon, powerhouse, such as the Daikyu, into an AoE weapon or not? And the answer is, well, no, not really. But what you can do is build gas on the weapon, try the Amalgam Daikyu target acquired mod, which gives you 75% to headshot multiplier, and try to group up enemies with a grouping ability. That will get you some results. It's gimmicky and unreliable. I don't really recommend it, but what is important is that it is possible. You can also take split flights into account, but that would mean minus accuracy when you're going for headshots, which is a bit counterintuitive, so do bear that one in mind. Now you can try to beat the weapon into submission and make it into something it's not, or you can play it for what it is truly great at. Single target damage, like so. Warframe buffs, my friends, and for that we're going to be using the ever so lovely Lady Mirage Prime and her outstanding buffs. When it comes to Warframe buffs, keep in mind that corrosive projection is definitely a good idea when it comes to heavily armored targets, but if your build calls for something like, I don't know man, energy siphon, growing power, physique, or whatever else, simply go for the aura of your choosing. If the aura is that relevant to you, please don't forget about coaction drift that you can slot right here. Arcanes are a lot more important when it comes to Warframe buffs simply because they carry a whole lot more weight. If you want more raw damage, even though you got enough, trust me, you got more than enough, you can go for something like Arcane Rage. More importantly, you can go for Avenger. Now Arcane Avenger R5 will get you more critical chance, 45% bonus additive after simply stacking on top of what you already have. It's a effect to your primary, secondary, and to your melee at the exact same time. Well, I'm gonna take off Arcane Rage because I don't want anybody believing that the extra damage is because of this. You can go with Fire Rate. You can go with Fire Rate, and the Fire Rate mod is going to be Arcane Acceleration. It's for primaries. Take a look. And this one will get you 90% fire rate to primary weapons, not shotguns, for 9 seconds. So do bear that one in mind. The reason why this is entirely pointless, because as you saw earlier in actual gameplay, you're not limited anymore by the fire rate per se. Can you aim quickly and efficiently or not? For all you sharpshooters out there. When it comes to the companion buff, you have two options. You can either go for the Panzerwolperpfeiler for the vital procs, or you can go for a Sentinel. Any Sentinel you desire, just make sure that on that Sentinel's weapon you have the 4 Vigilante mods. You can also have one of them in your Excel slot. You're going to be getting yourself that 20% chance to enhance critical hits from primary weapons. It's not something super uber powerful, but it is something, so there you go. We're going to be unpausing the target so they can hit me and I can get my buffs. But my friends, it was one-shotting before. Do you think it's not gonna one-shot now? But we're gonna be using Mirage's free ability for an outstanding Eclipse buff and for, of course, the best animation in War. Beautiful, ever so lovely clones. Shot by shot act. Oh, yeah, beautiful. I wonder if that slash had a chance to tick. Did you saw there was a slash proc there? I wonder if it had a chance to tick. Oh, that's so nice. For how much would have ticked? Technically, we can work out the math behind that one. I think it should have been at least 300,000 to 400,000 worth a slash tick. That's just simply not gonna happen. I don't understand why Digital Extreme does. Oh, that's beautiful. You want AOE? There you go. You got AoE, my friends, using the inbuilt punch through of the weapon. 3 meters, more than enough to absolutely skewer and shish kebab a pack of enemies. Dear D, can you let me spawn high-level targets in the simulacrum? Come on, I'm sure people will still play Endurance if we do. Or not. I would love to spawn targets in the thousands just so you can see a high slash proc out of this outstanding, beautiful weapon. One that I highly recommend, with a bit of a caveat. Do you like single target weapons? Do you like a bit of the more slower gameplay style? Going for that perfect shot, landing that perfect headshot from miles away. Is that satisfying to you or not? Because if it is, you're gonna be loving your time with the Daikyu. If not, if something more AoE is what you're craving, but you like bows anyway, then do it right with the following AoE bow that I guarantee you will love and get fantastic results of. Link in the cards right now. As always, my name has been Laser. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. If you got any feedback for me, I would love to read it in the comment section down below. Also in the comment section down below, if you guys got any content suggestions. For example, I would like to see this weapon build, that weapon build, and all whatnot. You can also find me on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all the usual places. And if you love the content and you want to help me keep making it, consider supporting us via Patreon. Link in the cards right now. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.